When it comes to astrology and understanding sister signs, your birth chart really does show exactly what archetype is over functioning. So the influences that kind of dictate exactly what portion of our archetype or personality feels the need to overcompensate, we are understanding the detour. It is the impact of our distractions. The magnetism behind those distractions really influence whether or not we have the belief that we're capable of executing any of our goals. So in the beginning of my shadow work, I started to notice the difference between ambition and setting goals. I was not someone who set goals. I was someone who was very ambitious. So ambition can be appreciated if you have work attached to your plans. So I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, I wanted to do this, and I wanted to do that. Allowing yourself to plan out an execution plan, how you're going to operate along that timeline, is extremely necessary, because when you do shadow work, you're able to understand exactly what portion of your personality is not willing to commit. So when we look through your birth chart, you start to notice exactly what archetypes, what houses, what degrees impact over functioning archetypes. So I've created the hidden dialogue in the imprinted empire to show us exactly what portion of our influences in our persona are magnetized by these distractions. The distractions alone are kind of like that portion of retrogrades that have us rethink, revise, and look at our plans to see exactly what needs to be altered. And what needs to be altered is usually something that we don't want to change. It's something that's like fixed. It's usually accompanied by fixed energy. So when you look in your birth chart and you notice that you either have a degree that's in a fixed sign in that over-functioning archetype, you have the sign in a fixed sign, you have the house is in a fixed house, these are areas of life that don't want us to change. And it's going to be a little bit harder. You have a square aspect to the planets or zodiac placements. These indications are allowing us to see what influences have an impact along our journey. So the detours that allow us to just swindle off into different areas of life, and we start to overcompensate in certain areas that aren't kind of beneficial to our plans, we're starting to see exactly where ambition and goals fall short. So having an over-functioning archetype being expressed through this shadow work portion of life will help you understand exactly what energy and element to focus on so that you can stay on course. So the shadow energy, the overcompensated archetype, is going to not be willing to further your achievement. It is going to be attracted to distractions. It's going to be attracted to influences that seek validation. So what's very helpful is to start to align your goals with the moon signs. Use your moon sign, use your sun sign to help you through the moon cycles. So we have 13 days between the new moon and a full moon, as well as the full moon to a new moon. You have 13 days to prepare for any occasion that you want to be a part of. Now, when the moon is in your sun sign, you're able to understand exactly how you want to participate. Transits, like I call it, the background consciousness, is already in motion. That storyline is already being prepared. Once you tune in to the background consciousness, aka the transits, you see when the Mercury retrograde is coming up, how you can alter your plans, how you can revise beforehand. After you understand exactly what archetype is overfunctioning within your birth chart, you're able to understand exactly what portion of your identity you need to work on. So as you are understanding what influences these distractions that make you want to overcompensate, you will then understand the agreements that you unconsciously agreed to. So in the hidden dialogue, I have unconscious agreements as a segment. I talk about this segment for the reason of us understanding how our subconscious mind gets comfortable with certain narratives. These unconscious narratives allow us to show a different part of our personality that we may not be really too fond of, or these responses to reality is kind of impulsive. We want to work on those before we get into the rooms that we are going to be appreciated in. So this is shadow work when it comes to addressing the over-functioning archetypes in our birth chart. And this is the reason why the lifestyle edit, the creative era, was created. I am LXSN. I am the CEO and founder of the Imprinted Empire. I've created the hidden dialogue to discuss the context of your birth chart. Each of the 12 houses represents a theme of the human experience. Each one of those archetypes are going to be representative of your perspective on your reality. So this segment of the hidden dialogue is going to represent how to curate your next era. The era that I'm referring to is establishing the growth levels between the inner child, your inner teenager, and your inner artist. As you are building and curating this archetype and the perspective that you have on reality, your archetype is going to grow. This character that you personify yourself to be is going to go through a life cycle, meaning the beginning stages, what you experience in the beginning of this portion. This portion of your growth is going to be a staple when you are building and offering services to other people. So this is going to be the transition from your employee stage of your adulthood into your freelance journey. So how do you build a character? This is the beginning stage of that character. You have to pick the values, the philosophy, the beliefs, and the narrative that you want to embody. And you're going to use the astrology houses to do that. The astrological wheel has 6 axes, with each sign having 2 sides. So the houses that are going to help you build this persona for your next era is the 1st house, the 2nd house, the 5th house, the 6th house, the 10th house, and the 11th house. So throughout our birth chart, we have aspects that help us try to navigate exactly what portion of these planets and energies are affecting the way we can continue momentum along our journey. So certain aspects influence us to respond to our reality in specific ways. Now the archetype, the zodiac sign, the energy, the degree all plays a factor in the way we respond to our reality. So our emotional state goes through several levels of awareness. Your moon sign is going to represent your inner child. Your Mars placement is going to represent your inner teenager. Your MC midheaven placement is going to represent your inner artist. So as I said, one of the houses that help you build this character for your new era is going to be the 10th house. The 10th house is going to represent your midheaven, your MC placement. The opposite of your MC is your IC. This is going to be representing your foundation, your lineage, and your spiritual inheritance. Now the 4th house is on the opposite side of the 10th house. Your spiritual inheritance is going to be a representation of your connection to your lineage. The way you were raised will represent the archetype that you speak from when your representative is going to be your foundation, which is your lineage. The representative, the archetype, the persona that speaks for the way that you were raised is going to be the archetype that is in contrast to your professionalism. So the lifestyle edit is the creative era that I've inserted into the Imprinted Empire. The Imprinted Empire is an archive of resources that you can use in techniques and exercises to help you understand your birth chart. So I've kind of crafted this to help you navigate how to get started. Your point of view is necessary to society, mainly because your point of view is only given an exclusive experience that no one else experienced the way you did. So you can give what you wish could have happened, you can give the perspective on what exactly happened, and what you learned from that experience, along with whatever you wanted to happen after that you did not get to experience. So there's several ways that you can initiate your perspective into society. The most appreciated way of entering things into society is art. So once it comes to the lifestyle edit in the creative era, you're going to use your 6th house to understand your point of view and how it is going to enter into society. The 6th house is ruled by Virgo energy, and the planetary ruler of Virgo is Mercury. And the sister sign to Virgo energy is Gemini. Now, Gemini and Virgo are both ruled by Mercury. Virgo is going to represent exactly how you participate in society, what you offer to society in your collaboration. The archetype that speaks for the sixth house, the sign, the degree, and the zodiac sign is going to express an archetype. That is a part of you that speaks and participates when it's time to work. Now, where you have Gemini, the house that you have Gemini in, the placements that you have Gemini in are going to reflect a persona that is expressing that archetype in the house that you have Gemini, because Virgo and Gemini are ruled by Mercury. So the Gemini house that you have in your birth chart, the planets that you have in that sign, are going to help you understand exactly what you show up in at work. When you are engaging with other people, this is a persona that also shows up in the contrast of working with people. The placements that you have in Gemini and Virgo are going to be ruled by Mercury. So when Mercury is in retrograde, the way that you show up in social interactions as well as work will show you the progress that you have when it comes to offering your services, how impactful you are being to your community or your industry. It also shows the way you're able to influence your awareness. Now, the impact of gaining a deeper awareness of the things that are happening within your reality, as well as the shifts that you want to occur along your journey, the way you communicate to the energy outside in the world. I like to call that the background consciousness. That's like the transits, and the way that you communicate with your peers and the people that you want to have in collaboration with within the future. That will all show the Mercury placement in your birth chart. The planets that rules over communication and work is Mercury. You're going to use your communication to further yourself along your journey. So the second portion of how you can build this character for the lifestyle edit in your creative era is going to be your second house. So the second house is going to be Taurus energy. Now, your house may be different from the Taurus energy being a ruler of the second house. However, just as the sixth house, Taurus is the ruler of the second house. It is represented by your self-values, your resources, your self-worth, and who you identify yourself to be manifests in a material way. So the material aspect of your second house is going to show you how you're able to generate your own resources. This is going to come from natural talents. This is going to come from natural skills. This is the house that I like to call the resources that you don't have to try to figure out. These are things that you already possess because you have a natural talent at it. So your second house is going to be something you overlook. These are going to be things that you hear people say to you all the time, but you never really pay it any deep attention to. The second house comes right after how you self-identify who you are. The second house is going to represent exactly what you have that other people want. So when it comes to boundaries in the second house with your resources, means you have to understand the aura of the first house, which is yourself, and understand, appreciate, and show a lot of nourishment to your natural talents. As I said, we overlook this house. So the things that we are influenced by external validation or wanting to be accepted by the crowd, it kind of overshadows the second house. If you are aware of these skills and talents, it's easier to appreciate them. However, if other people don't appreciate them, it's harder for you to appreciate them. So let's use Taurus archetype to explain how these resources are existing, however, it's not appreciated. So with the modalities in astrology, Taurus is a fixed sign. Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo are considered the fixed signs. Taurus is a bull, represented by the bull. Taurus is very, very, very grounded in who they are. Now, Taurus energy, not the people, not degrees, not personalities. The essence of Taurus is an earth sign, which is rooted in the foundation. With it being the first earth sign, it's going to be something that is the actual root in the soil. You know, when you try to pull up a root from the soil, it's kind of hard. That is Taurus energy. It has dug its roots so far that you don't really know how deep it is until you try to put force behind it. Now, that's like a representation of fixed energy. Once you find out how serious a person is about that perspective, about that resource, or whatever the case may be, it usually comes with an experience attached to it. That realization has to accompany an experience so that you can understand the depth and the bandwidth behind it. So Taurus energy could always look unfinished. It could always look unpolished. It could just look like something needs to be more about it. Something needs to have more oomph. The essence of it needs to be improved. That's a good representation of why our natural talents are always overlooked. We are excited about the polished, executed ideas. However, those are normally not ours. But it's easier to look outward and see what works, what's been appreciated, so that you can be a part of the crowd. So I want to talk about the 10th house and the North Node in combination. We've already talked about the 10th house in the midheaven. But the North Node is going to be where you are actually looking to be a designation. Not that that's the end all be all, it's the destination. Your professionalism is going to get you to that destination. Now the sign that your North Node is in is going to show you the destination. However, the sister sign to that North Node sign is going to show you where the shadow energy is at. Now the house that South Node is in is going to show you the magnetism between the distraction. So the distraction that you usually get in that house of the South Node is going to be what distracts you in your real life. So when it's time for you to set goals with your Virgo house, and your second house is going to show you exactly how deep-rooted the impact of that distraction really is. So now we have gone to the last house that I want to discuss when it comes to building a character for your next era, the 5th house. As I stated, the 5th house is ruled by fixed energy, which is Leo. Your 5th house may be in a different sign. So the 5th house being ruled by Leo energy and helping us understand exactly what portion of our creative expression is valuable is going to have to be on how you nourish your ideas in the 2nd house. Your 2nd house is going to be the place where you're able to nourish your ideas. The 5th house and the 2nd house come into collaboration. So this is where numerology kind of helps you understand exactly where you should put your energy. So the 2nd house and the 5th house equal out to 7. The sign that is in your 7th house is going to show you the emotional attachment, the element that you need to have when you are building your ideas. The 7th house is ruled by collaboration, partnership, and marriage, commitment. Libra is the ruler of the 7th house. Now Venus is the ruler of Libra and Taurus. With Taurus being the house that you have of your self-worth and resources, your 5th house of creativity and self-expression is going to be rooted in another sign. Those two signs are going to help you understand exactly how your 7th house can be in collaboration with how you express your creativity. Self-validation is key, mainly because you are the only one that matters in this whole self-expression. Other people being attracted to your work or appreciating it is irrelevant. The way you influence other people is from the emotional attachments that you have to your achievements. When you achieve a portion of your creative expression and you're able to articulate yourself in a way that you feel proud of is the achievement. Being appreciated by other people is a plus. So the 5th house, the 2nd house, is going to show you exactly how to use your 7th house in explaining your creativity. It's like the tweak that you need to make it look nice and show a different aura or ambiance to your expression. And the way that you allow your self-exploration when it comes to creativity is going to be what has the relatability and the grounding aspect to your Taurus house. When you are allowing yourself to explore freely without judgment, your Taurus house, which is your second house of value and self-worth, is what makes people feel relatable to what you are offering. The backstory and tools that you're going to be able to use when you're dealing with the background consciousness, which I call the transits, are going to be your backstory, your aesthetic, your unfinished ideas, and who you want to become. The key word, who you want to become, not who you are. The concept behind the lifestyle edit in the creative era was to understand that the hidden dialogues are going to help you through this transformation. So the ideal consumer of my content is going to be the person transforming from an employee utilizing their skills to a freelancer. So the freelancer is finding exactly what specialty they want to offer. As a freelancer, you pick your industry, you pick the community you want to join, you find out what they need, you work on your personal growth. As you build this connection and rapport with these people within the community, you are able to socially interact with them to find out what you can offer. This is making yourself an asset. Allowing your resources to be what you are offering is the best way to be a business owner. It's harder to find people who don't really have an end game and you sell them anything. But to have roots and impact, you have to meet the needs of the people in that community so that you are able to continue offering more and more.